Hey friends, it's Robert. On today's episode of World Crafted, we're off to Japan to examine a technique for repairing broken pottery with the unexpected material of gold. And then we'll reimagine this tradition using a modern DIY technique that will turn your broken ceramics into little works of art for your home. In Japanese culture, there is a philosophy called Wabi-Sabi, and it's a unique way of looking at the world, finding and appreciating beauty in old or broken things that are imperfect. And falling under that lovely umbrella of thought is a handcraft tradition called Kintsugi. It's the Japanese art of repairing broken pottery with lacquer that's been dusted or mixed with powdered gold, silver, or platinum. The result is a cup, bowl, or plate that's been pieced back together with gorgeous seams of precious metal. I love everything about this concept and started to explore alternate methods of repairing broken pottery that you and I could tackle at home as a DIY using modern and easily accessible materials. And what I found is that there are really only 3 basic materials you need to complete this project. The first, of course, is a broken piece of pottery. Now, let me just say that with any new craft, you have to practice to improve your technique. I love the idea of you considering a broken piece of your grandmother's china or even a beloved damaged ceramic figurine you made in elementary school. But let me encourage you to practice on a less precious object first, maybe an inexpensive find at a local thrift shop or dollar store. But whatever piece you choose, just make certain that it's clean and completely dry before you begin. To repair the broken pottery, we'll be using a clear 2-part epoxy from your craft, hobby, or hardware store. This type of epoxy is typically packaged as a syringe with 2 side-by-side tubes, one containing resin and the other a hardener. When combined in equal parts, a chemical reaction occurs, creating a really strong binding agent. Most work with a variety of materials, but be certain to read the label thoroughly to make sure it will bind ceramics, and always follow the manufacturer's instructions. And finally, to color the epoxy and give it the appearance of metal, we'll use mica powder. Mica is a common mineral, and when ground into a fine powder, it's often used in cosmetics. I'm going to demonstrate the process using gold, but know that many metallic shades are available to choose from, and I found the largest selection available in online stores. One of the origin stories for Kintsugi involves a 15th century Japanese shogun or military leader who sent a damaged Chinese tea bowl back to China for repairs. Now, when it was returned to him, he found that it had been repaired with metal staples. And it's thought that the shogun's displeasure with how the repair looked may have prompted Japanese craftsmen to look for a more pleasing alternative. And so this joinery technique that emphasized the imperfections, visualizing mends and seams as an area to celebrate, was developed. And it's said that collectors became so enamored of the new art that some were accused of deliberately breaking pottery so that it could be repaired with the gold seams of Kintsugi. It's a smart idea to cover your work surface for this project and have a rag or a paper towel on hand should you need it. I'm going to mix the epoxy in a small disposable tray, but a piece of wax paper or aluminum foil would work as well. Now, most epoxies set within a matter of minutes, so we're going to mix and work with small batches. Start by doing a dry fit, placing your broken pottery pieces together so that you're aware of the proper placement. Then depress the syringe to dispense a small amount of the 2-part epoxy, and then add a tiny amount of the mica powder. I'm using a wooden sandwich pick to scoop the mica and then mix it directly into the epoxy. Stir thoroughly and then begin to spread it on the broken edge of one of your pottery pieces. It only needs to be applied to one of the edges you'll be fitting together, not both. Now, if you're dealing with one long broken edge, you'll want to work as quickly as possible. Add a fairly generous amount of the mixed epoxy so that when the 2 pieces are pressed together, it emerges from the seams, creating that beautiful vein of gold. Once the edge is completely coated, fit the 2 pieces together and hold in place until the epoxy starts to set. This could be a couple of minutes. Now, the manufacturer's directions will tell you how long the epoxy will take to set, and then how long it will take to completely cure. Resist the temptation to touch the epoxy seams before they're completely cured, because while they may have hardened enough to hold the pieces together, you can still leave fingerprints, which really lessens the illusion of a gold seam. It's easiest to work with one clean break, but understandably, we don't have control over that. With multiple seams to repair, it's best to attach 1 or 2 pieces at a time, allowing the epoxy to set before connecting more. Once the epoxy is completely cured, your DIY Kintsugi pottery is ready to use and display. It's not recommended that you eat or drink out of your repaired pieces, but they make wonderful decorative home accents. A bedside jewelry holder, pencil cups for your desk, or a convenient dish for keys and change inside the front door. I do hope you'll give this project a try, giving a broken object new life as a beautiful little work of art for your home. Thank you so much for watching, and if you haven't done so already, I want to encourage you to subscribe to Kin Community and join me next time for another world-inspired DIY.